Hey, so somebody asked me I thought I was done recording daily vlogs from today. But somebody asked me on Twitter what are my favorite and least favorite things about living in Minneapolis. And I actually thought that was really interesting. So I want to run with it before I forget about this question and while I'm feeling inspired. So, I really like living in Minneapolis. This last winter was a beast. This last winter was rough. I have complained about this winter before. I don't know, like in daily vlogs that I've recorded. I don't know if they're live, so maybe you've heard this, and maybe you've yet to hear this. But this was the snowiest and most precipitant February on record. So yay, climate change. And also March, we had a ton of snow in March too. And last year we had many snowfalls in April, and a snowfall, maybe two, at least one, in May. May is the month before June, if you don't know how calendars work. So that is rough. That's going to be, when the winter is reasonable, I can handle the winter. When the winter is, like, out of the ordinary and really extreme, and I'm not exaggerating because, like I said, it was the snowiest winter on record. On record. You can't really say, oh, you're exaggerating when there's literally never been a snowier winter. That is the definition of extreme. The most of something is the most extreme point of that thing, and that was this winter. So that was a bummer. It was really hard to deal with. It was really frustrating. It's an expensive thing to have the snowiest winter. It takes a toll on your house. It takes a toll on your car. Sometimes it puts you in like precarious situations. Driving is really scary and challenging. Sometimes my car wouldn't start. Snow emergencies are really complicated when you don't have a garage. Your car often gets stuck. Sometimes there is not public transportation for you to utilize instead of your car. It will totally shut down, and Ubers will literally not be available. You'll open the app and it'll be like Lyft or Uber or whatever ride-sharing service you have. Maybe you download all of them, just because we were desperate to get somewhere. And then they were like, sorry, nobody is alive and using this. So they all stayed home today because they were smart and wanted to be safe, and then you're just stuck. So that will be my least favorite thing. What else? Oh, I wish there was okay, so Minneapolis is pretty gay friendly and there's a lot of queer culture, but I'm greedy. So I always wish there was more. That's going to be another least favorite thing. But I hate to say that because it's going to make Minneapolis, because I feel like people think about Minneapolis and they're like, there's probably not a lot of gay culture. Wrong. There's quite a bit. And there's a really good atmosphere, and it's really accepting, and that's great. So that's awesome. But like I said, I'm greedy, and I always want more. And sometimes I go to big cities like LA and New York and stuff, or Atlanta is surprisingly really queer. And I get into the city part, and I see just how gay a place can be, and I want that. So, but that's just me being nitpicky. Anything else negative about Minneapolis that I don't like? I don't think so. Okay, things that I like about living in Minneapolis. I like that it's not LA. When I almost moved to LA. I had a really cool job opportunity that I was offered in LA, and I turned it down to take another path. And one of the reasons I did is because when I went to LA, it was my personal experience that a lot of the folks I interacted with were really using me for networking purposes, and were really using each other for networking purposes rather than realistic friendship purposes. So that is not something that I feel in Minneapolis. I feel like in Minneapolis, folks are genuine and authentic, and no one's really trying to I scratch my back, you scratch, or if I scratch your back, you scratch mine kind of a thing. It just seems like if they're talking to you, it's because they want to. Maybe something I don't like is, I do like and don't like, is how Minnesota nice. folks are. That can be confusing because it can come off as passive-aggressive. Sometimes I wish folks would be a little bit more direct and honest, which contradicts exactly what I just said. But again, nobody's using anybody to get something from them. So that's what I mean. Like, nobody's, like, trying to get something from you and using you. People might be passive-aggressive in the way where you do something they don't like, and instead of just being like, hey, I didn't like that, they'll be like, well, that was a choice you made. Or like, that was different. So it's more like if folks have a problem with you, they have a harder time letting you know in a healthy way. That might be a negative. But otherwise, oh my gosh, the lakes are I love Minneapolis. So that was like, those are the negatives. What are some of the negatives of the place you live? If you can even comment on this video, because comments have been disabled forever. If you can't comment on this video, go to my Twitter and tell me, @AshHardell. The lakes are really beautiful. There's the spring, summer, and fall are gorgeous. There's so much to do. There's so much biking. We have so many lakes. They're gorgeous. They're really like well maintained. There's a lot of water sports. The cities are like really, I think the city is really clean for the most part. And I mean, there's areas of the city that aren't clean, but that's like, a city. We have two big cities. We have Minneapolis and St. Paul right next to each other. So it's a lot of things to do. There's so many wonderful restaurants. There's so much theater. It's like the second most per capita theater in the country, believe it or not. I think second to New York. I love going to the Guthrie. I love going to the Jungle Theater. There's a lot of Shakespeare randomly. We saw Two Gentlemen of Verona. We've seen Romeo and Juliet. We've seen Midsummer's Night's Dream. So yeah, the Guthrie, the Jungle are great. There's theater in the Round. There's Shakespeare in the Park. The parks are gorgeous. We live in St. Paul right now, and we have like Lake or St. Harriet, no, something Harriet Parkway. It's not Lake Harriet though. It's not on Lake Harriet. It's on the Mississippi, and it's like a Harriet. Oh, Harriet Island. That's what it is. I was like St. Harriet, Lake Harriet. No, Harriet Island. Harriet Island Park is really lovely. Also, Lake Harriet is lovely. It has the bandshell. It has so many things to do. There's so many greenways if you want to like longboard or bike or rollerblade. One time I got drunk and rollerbladed on the greenway and broke my wrist. Oh no, just kidding. I wasn't drunk. Oh, I might have been. I can't remember. Probably because I was drunk. That was a long time ago. Don't do that. I would not recommend that. It's not fun and expensive to break your wrist. There's a lot of like foliage and greenery, and it's just really beautiful. A lot of community gardens. That's wonderful. I really like the Uptown area. I like the South Minneapolis area. I like Lowertown and St. Paul. We've got a ton of cool coffee shops and cafes. We have cat cafes. We have coffee shops that have lovely smoothie bowls. What are other things I really like about Minneapolis? There's so many things. I love Minneapolis and St. Paul. St. Paul is technically the capital, if you didn't know, but I feel like Minneapolis is more well-known. It's a little bit of a bigger city. Together, they're called the Twin Cities. We have the Mall of America, which can be a lot of fun and also very stressful. I avoid the Mall of America on the weekend. I like to go to the Mall of America during the weekday when everyone else is at work, but it's great. It is everything you need. We have a lot of really cool, like, if you're like foodie, we haven't really been able to afford going out to eat recently. But when we could, we really liked, and this was obviously only like a once in a while thing, but going to restaurants that had tasting menus, and tasting menus are basically like, the chef decides what to make, and like, unless you have a food allergy or something, you just go with it. And it's usually multiple courses. We've done anything from 5 courses to 20. When you get bigger, the course sizes get really small. They're more like bites, like just like, they come on one of those little spoons, and you're like, And there's like a lot of restaurants, like Travail is one, and Tongue in Cheek is one, and Sanctuary in Minneapolis is another one that all have tasting menus if you're curious about tasting menus and you live in the city. They're kind of spendy though, so like that was like a thing I did for my birthday, so that might be something that like I wouldn't just be like, Ash says this is fun, let's show up and do it. It's like you kind of save for it kind of a thing. We like paddleboarding on Lake Budmakaska. Oh, Uptown is a barcade that we really like. Troubadour is a wine bar in Uptown that we really like. Although wine gives me a headache now. We got a lot of like board game culture and breweries. We have so many breweries, and a lot of people take board games to breweries, and dogs. A lot of dogs, and people bring their dogs to breweries, which is really neat. We have some museums. So we have the Walker Art Museum. We have the what's the Wiseman? I would say what's the one at the U? The Wiseman, which I've actually never been to. When I went to the University of Minnesota, the Wiseman was under construction my entire career of being a student there, so that was fun. It was a bummer. I totally would have gone to the Wiseman for free as a student, but nope. But it looks cool. I get the outside is really industrial and like aluminum-y and funky shaped, so that's neat. What else is there to do? I mean, this is an 11-minute long video and I've talked a lot, but let's Google like Minneapolis and see if I've missed anything. We got a zoo. Oh, the Como Zoo is really fun. It has a I don't know, this is not new. It has a conservatory, like arboretum kind of a thing, which is really beautiful. And the Como Zoo, I believe, is free. The Minnesota Zoo is not free, but it's nice. If you like zoos, if you don't like zoos, don't go to the zoo. Minneapolis things to do. Boop. 15 best things. Oh, Oh, there we go. Duh. Minnehaha Falls is gorgeous, and what's even better is the Minnehaha Falls Dog Park. We have vlogged in the dog park before. You can find it if you want. It's gorgeous. It's on the river. It's full of trees. It's not like a regular dog park. When I think dog park, I think like a sad patch of grass that smells like pee and is fenced in by like chain link fence. And you're just like, This dog park is like a majestic forest. You feel like you're like in another world. It's off leash. The dogs just like go wild and make a ton of friends. It's wonderful. So yeah, Minnehaha is great. Best things to do in Minneapolis. Minnehaha Park, the Institute of Art. The Institute of Art is cool. I've never been to Mill City Museum. The Guthrie, yes. The Chain of Lakes, yes. So we have like a chain of lakes, which is really, so we have a lot of lakes. We're the land of 10,000 lakes. But we have 3 really big lakes that are all next to each other in the cities in Minneapolis. So we have Lake Bid-Makaska. That one recently had its name changed, and I don't know if the others had their name changed. I don't think so, so I'm just going to call them by what I know them at. No, I know they don't. I know they haven't. Okay, so there's Bid-Makaska, there's Lake of the Isles, and there's Harriet, and I think there's one more. And then way south, not connected, we have Nokomis. But anyway, 3 of them are connected. So like Big Lake, Little Lake Canal, Big Lake, Little Canal. Anyway, and you can you can rent a kayak or a paddleboard, and you can go through all of them. And you're like right in the city, so there's like skyscrapers and shops and restaurants, and you're just like on a lake, and it's really neat. Lake Harriet. Oh, the sculpture garden is really neat, so that's at the Walker Lake I was talking about. Yeah, we just got really, Minneapolis is bomb as fuck. I do not want to leave. When I was little, I made fun of my parents for living in Minneapolis and for like not like taking the family or taking their lives and going somewhere more exciting. But I am like eating my words because I don't want to move anytime soon because it's really great. I love Minneapolis. Okay, bye!